Hello and welcome to a podcast with no theme, no direction, and three hosts with no idea what they're doing. It's currently 2:32 a.m., and you're listening to the late night ramblings of Madmen. I'm your host Andrew, and today I'm joined once again by Grant John. Hello.
Hello.
Yeehaw.
How are we doing today, folks?
Great. This is our fourth episode, and that's great.
Hopefully it's
Brilliant vocabulary.
as the last one, you know?
Yep. Oh man, we got some awesome topics for everyone today. I'm pretty hyped about this, honestly.
We do.
We got a lot to cover.
Yes, we do have quite a lot to cover. And now this is not a gaming podcast at all, and
Nope.
it never will be.
Don't you dare.
However-
Don't you dare ever say that.
Never say it. It's wrong to do that. However, today we're going to be starting with some pretty important announcement in the Minecraft world, which is 1.20 has finally been named, and it is the Tales and Trails update.
First
I thought they were
reaction.
going to call it the modded update, but they didn't
boy.
do that. You know what?
I will
Having
actually
You're
seen that-
really holding on to
I will
that,
actually
aren't
fight
you?
that a little bit. Yeah, I'm willing
I
to
am.
fight that. You
You
know,
know what?
like
I have
thought it was
changed my
pretty good.
opinion. I've changed my opinion.
Me too.
Okay, here's the thing. I always thought it was the modded update, but looking at it, I don't think it's a modded update. I'm glad we're kind of getting some, the cherry trees. That's nice. But really, I think the better update name would be the nothing update.
Why?
No name update?
Because who the heck cares? That's my question.
Cherry blossoms are beautiful.
They are, but no, this isn't going to do anything for the game. Which then again, they are kind of stuck in a scenario of can they really do much for the game at this point? If they do too much,
Yeah, that's true.
they run into an issue. What are y'all's thoughts? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think that's going to be pretty fun to play. I think Minecraft is kind of embracing the role-playing side of it more that's what the archaeology part just seems to me. Like, just making historical artifacts, you make a museum and it feels like they're tapping a little bit into the role-playing side of it, and you could make a treasure hunt or something like that. You could make an ancient scene, which I'm probably going to do at some point. You could do just stuff that isn't really necessarily adventurous or game building, but it's also kind of a bit more for stuff like role playing and just creating a storyline, and also that will spawn a whole other wave of YouTube videos about the lore and everything about it, so that's good publicity for them. As far as the cherry trees are concerned, or the cherry blossom trees are concerned, I think they just look pretty cool. I thought that was going to look really modded, kind of like what you were saying, Andrew. But it actually,
fine.
yeah, we have freaking giant mushrooms in Woodland Forest, this isn't the worst thing. This isn't the worst thing they've ever done, which I do not like the mushrooms in the Woodland Forest. I get that they add the color and the light, but I just don't like them. That's just weird.
That's
So
fair.
compared
Yeah.
to that,
Why don't you like the mushrooms?
pretty okay.
What mushrooms are you talking about?
the big red ones, and even the big
They
brown
always
ones.
had those.
I know that, but I don't like that. Doesn't mean I like them.
That's fair.
I just
Yeah,
don't. It just seems weird.
I remember I found them in Pocket Edition. I thought it was rare, and I was like, "Whoa, I can make a house in this." And I'd always try to make houses in them, and it never worked.
Yeah. I feel
Okay,
like
the thing about this update.
you're kind of required to do some kind of fantasy, something
You are.
with you got to do some kind of fantasy or some creepy, either that or some creepy mansion or something. And unless you're building those, then it's going to be a lot harder to build in the woodland mansion or the woodland biome.
Right.
Anyways, continue.
Well, the thing with me about this whole deal is it's nothing of importance seems to have happened. It just doesn't. Okay, here's my main issue. This is giving me flashbacks. I'm saying okay so many times because flashbacks are hitting. This gives me flashbacks to the update aquatic. Because when the update aquatic came out, Minecraft's viewer base was the lowest it had been since it took off, and they were just desperately trying to do whatever they could, so they didn't update to sort of that the players had wanted, which was an ocean update. And they pretty much, I mean, they fumbled it. They didn't fumble it, but it was just like it was just so weird, and no one cared, and it was just a bad time for Minecraft overall.
True.
But this literally feels so much like that to me, where they're just doing something. Because when Caves and Cliffs came out, people were losing it. It was the best time to be playing Minecraft. Minecraft was at a new peak, and
Yeah.
they
Second
came out with
golden
Caves and
era.
Cliffs, which people have been wanting it forever, and it was just people were so excited. It looked awesome, but then,
Oh,
They split
and
it
it all
into
went horribly,
three.
horribly wrong.
it went
It all just
horribly,
went
horribly wrong.
terribly wrong. When can we
What were you saying,
get?
John?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, it just split into three.
Yeah. Please, why don't they give us an end update? It's stuck in 2012.
Okay, I will say though, this update isn't as bad as the wild update, but no one really thought of that as the wild update. That wasn't the wild update. That was the 1.18 part 2. That wasn't 1.19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but 1.20, I don't know. I'm a little underwhelmed. Who cares about camels? Who cares about archaeology? Okay, this is their issue. They included archaeology, which is just giving us what they were already supposed to give us later. And so they're doing that. It's fine, I
Just
guess.
like what
I
they
guess.
did with the Deep Dark for 1.19. You know, they were supposed to give it in the Caves and Cliffs update, but they pushed it back.
Yeah, I think they need, if they wanted to do something, if you ask, like, what should you do? You know, how do you revitalize a game? Make something that's more functional than just storyline, because archaeology isn't functional. Cherry Blossoms, not really functional, just a different building type. But something like the Nether update, that was hugely functional. You know, it added
think about this. They're adding more.
Added a whole new thing.
Well, they're adding a way now, Grant. You got to think about it like this. They're adding a way for people to role play. And we all know that when Hermitcraft tried to focus more on the role play, it went really well, and everyone loved it.
Yes.
That's a joke, because when they did that,
I know.
it was, yeah. What?
Yeah. That was rough.
Season 8. Good gravy.
Yeah, but I think if you wanted to, what I was saying is, I think if you wanted to make something, if you really wanted to get people excited, make it something functional. Like, I think the Nether update was a huge success because it had a reason, you know. It had
Nether update was amazing. Probably
Nether
in a while.
Exactly. Nether update was because it was functional. You could get your netherite, which kind of hurt a little bit from a traditional point of view because diamond was always number one, and you know now it's second.
That was their only fumble. They really should not have done that.
That's true, but
what they should have done was buffed diamonds because diamonds get so much rare.
Right, like you could have like or you could still use netherite, but make it like this weird diamond netherite. I don't know. Just like but the point of what I'm saying here is that the Nether update was functional, and it actually changed the game rather than just like there's the few people that want to roleplay an archaeological test site or whatever, some dig, you know, like it's not actually changing how you play the game, but something like the Nether update changed how you play the game because now you just get diamonds. And then you go and get netherite. You see what I mean?
Yeah, and it changed the speedrunning community forever with the piglins.
Right.
Which you could also argue that 1.16 seemed modded.
I guess, yeah. I can kind of see that.
The Nether update.
What was 1.17?
What was 1.17? Oh, dang. What was it?
It was the creative update with all the items from whatchamacallit. Yeah. The like the pre-Caves and Cliffs.
Yeah.
It was Caves and Cliffs Part 1.
Caves and Cliffs was just so overhyped because the Nether update was such a big success, and then they come out with a creative update, and it's like that creative update is such a build-up update, like totally not meant to stand on its own, but to lead to something greater. And I remember, like, when Caves and Cliffs was originally coming out, and like people were hyped about it, and then it just kind of let us down.
Amazing.
Like people, like Caves and Cliffs was just what the way they could have done that right is just make it all in one update, and it's huge and it's big and it's going to take longer, but we can wait because we're excited, and we're not going to go away from it because we're all hooked on this idea, and then you wait a little bit, you make it perfect, and then you just release it, and it's huge, it's a massive success. Caves and Cliffs had such a big build up, and then they just totally butchered it. And that's where they went wrong with it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I think
what Caves and Cliffs taught Mojang more than anything is never to overpromise ever again.
Yeah, we were so hyped for Caves and Cliffs. That's a fact.
Yeah, people got excited about it, and they overpromised, and that is where the problem came in because they couldn't deliver on that. They had they talk about team health, and okay, their meaning being they can't make them code too much. They're like labor laws, so it just wasn't feasible to keep the game moving in the way.
So then wait. We can wait. It's okay. Something as good as that is worth waiting for. That's what they should have done.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
I'd rather wait for something perfect.
What they should have done. Here's what I think they should have done. Yeah, but they should have already been there. They had their mindset and update. They should have already been working on it, for a while before they did the update. And I think they did a different strategy with 1.20, and that strategy was just under promise, over deliver is what everyone was excited for. It was under promise, under deliver. It was we got what we were promised, which was we're gonna put some things in Minecraft, call it what we want.
Yeah.
We didn't get crap. Okay, there's a camel. Fine. That's okay then. Okay. Also burn the mob vote.
Yes. It's only causing controversy. It's only causing controversy. It just is. It's harmful. It's harmful. It really is.
If you really like one of them, as a development team, just add that one. Don't create a prototype for us to get excited about.
Don't give people an option if you already have your mind set, Don't if you already know which one you're going to include, don't give us the option, You take if you told someone hey, do you want to go to the store or whatever, but you were already planning on taking them to the store, then don't give them the option because then they're going to say no, and then too bad, we're going to the store anyway, and then there's a whole thing. That's exactly what it is. And so, you could say, if you still want to have the excitement of a mob vote, then say, hey, we're going to make a copper golem. Would you like him to do this or this? And either way is fine with you. But don't give us an option if there isn't one deep down.
Right.
Yeah. And
the thing I hate about...
If it is an actual mob vote, have more than just the mob. Sort of like what they were going to do with the copper golem. As the redstone, the copper buttons, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wish we got the copper golem,
Me too.
We should have got and they wanted to have the copper golem because they added the copper golem. People picked the glow squid, which I still hate Dream for. Of all the good reasons to absolutely despise that gross, disgusting Rumpelstiltskin look from Shrek looking man, that's the best one because he rallied his people together.
Shane Dawson.
It was glow squid. Shane Dawson. It was glow squid. And because he did that, they all voted for it. He had the biggest fan base of a bunch of degenerates.
We will get into Dream SMP later. Trust us. We promise you someday we're going to unpack that. Now isn't really the time because we have too much to cover. And that's an episode in of itself.
Speaking of SMPs...
Oh, good one.
Another SMP that we are all fans of here has started up again. Actually, yes. And that is Limited Life, which is the next one in the Life series. Grant, I'm going to toss this to you because this is kind of your wheelhouse.
I love the Third Life, Last Life, Limited Life, even Double Life. We still kind of like you too. I just love the Life series. It's my favorite SMP, and I've been waiting for it basically since Double Life ended. Personally, I think Double Life was probably the worst just because it forced the chaos. But think about the Life series. Why I could make an entire episode on this is just because it's just simulated enough, but not simulated. Like, you don't feel like it's scripted, which it might be. Who knows? But I will say the third life fight between Gran and Scar was just a little too perfect. But it was great. It's just simulated enough, like, to where they kind of force the chaos with a small world and obviously limited lives. But it's also so much room to play with the chaos. And I just think the Life series is just masterful. I love it. And it also, there's the fact that it's competitive and how there's like one clear winner also helps bring viewership, because people will want to tune into something because they want to see if their favorite content creator is advancing or declining in their, like, basically odds to win. And whereas something like Hermitcraft, which we all love Hermitcraft, but there isn't really a reason to tune in besides what the creator is doing. But you can tune into a Life series episode because you want to see, because it's competitive. It's like tuning into every single, like, game of your favorite team's sports team, or like tuning into March Madness, tuning into the World Series, anything like that, because there's a clear end to it and there's a clear final designated winner. So from a technical standpoint, that's just why I think the Life series is just so great. But yeah, we have Limited Life. I'm super pumped for it. I've already watched, I think I'm going to watch Grian and Tango's perspective, because they don't really interact too much. So you can basically kind of see it from both sides. And they have, like, different people that they interact with. That's my number one recommendation. You can watch whoever you want, honestly. But my personal recommendation, watch two people who don't interact a lot. Because then, like, Tango, he hangs out a lot with Impulse and Skizzleman, B-Dubs, Etho. And then Grian likes to hang out with, Scar, Mumbo, the recurring people, Pearl even. And so you can kind of see, like, it's new each time. There's not a lot of repeated content in each of those episodes. That's just my advice. But yeah, obviously I think everybody can tell that I'm really excited for this.
I really like the way that they're doing it this time.
Yeah, you guys, I think it's time that I shut up and you guys talk about it.
Like the 24 hours thing with, like, the different times, it's so genius, especially being able to add time if you kill someone.
Right. Like, I can totally see somebody with, like, 15 minutes left. Like, yeah, this is going to get so good at the end. I'm so excited for it. Like, somebody with 15 minutes left, or 5 minutes left, and they pull off this amazing clutch kill that gets them 30 extra minutes. Like, that's going to be so cool. Because that's going to happen.
It will
like,
be great.
Some kind of, like, crazy clutch will get them alive. And I think that's why I liked Last Life so much, is because the neat part is, like, adding life, something. I think that's a neat idea. And Last Life, my personal favorite, for a variety of reasons, is basically just Third Life but polished. And I think even that's a little bit of part of it, because, like, you can add life and you can extend your time and stuff. I think that's a neat idea, rather than just everybody's clock counting down. Andrew, you haven't said much. What do you think?
I've been trying to, Graham.
Once you get me started on something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, you're very passionate. You are so passionate, in fact, that you think they were moving in circles. Anyway,
well, it is kind of small,
Yeah.
Close enough.
The thing about this that I will say about this one, the thing about about the Life series in general is that you can, like, it's like new every time, and everything you said about it is pretty much perfect, as you seem to very much enjoy it. I don't have too much to say because I haven't finished the first episode yet, but
I've already seen Green and Tango's first.
Oh, I can imagine you have.
Yes.
But it's a very good series, seemingly. And the thing about it, too, the only thing I see, I just want to call this someday in case it ever happens, is when do they run out of topics? And I don't want to get all doom and gloom on y'all, even though that is my job. But
yeah, it is kind of your designated role.
They have so many Life series until it's just like triple Life. 15-minute life.
I feel like
Spice life.
You could already. I feel like you could already. It sounds like a drug term for some reason, but
Yes,
like you could, you could already kind of see that, which is why another reason why I didn't really like Double Life so much. You could already that felt like a bit of a reach, like forcing. What I didn't like about it was how forced it was, and it forced the people to kind of make teams. Whereas in all the other life series, they've just kind of naturally gravitated towards, who they like, or just, it happened organically, but there wasn't like some big faction in Double Life, not to spoil, but we didn't have a big war like we did in Third Life with like the Red King and everyone else. And like there was like two big sides, and like the whole server was like a Cold War. The whole server was divided. And
Third Life was the best by far.
Third Life was awesome.
It was.
My personal favorite was Last Life, but I can totally see why somebody would like Third Life the best.
It's the best SMP that exists right now.
It really is. It's it's totally my
is.
favorite. I can make a podcast episode about that in and of itself.
I really like how the Last Life series is so short. Like, there's again, like what Grant said, it's like an actual sport. There's a definite end to it, which makes you tune into it sooner.
Exactly. And the thing about it, like a Hermitcraft episode, you can kind of wait a few days because it's, you're just like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. He's probably just going to finish his base or, whatever game he's working on or she, whoever. But like the Life series, you're like, oh man, I got to tune into this now because I got to see if my favorite creator or, whatever happened, even if you don't have a favorite. But like, if you do, like, I got to see if this guy's like, if he's okay. Did he die 4 times? Skizzle man. Did he like have something crazy happen? Stuff like that. As it left my mouth, I realized it was a spoiler. I'm deeply sorry. I would like to formally apologize.
Moment. He realized.
Yes.
He spoiled the series.
I'm so sorry. I just, I gotta shut up. Y'all just say something. I gotta shut up.
I think the best part about it, though, what like separates it from the rest, is the way the mod in it is like done. Like it's subtle. It's not overpowering, and it enhances the story. So
yeah.
Speaking of mods, John,
you're gonna have to do better than just speaking of
mod.
insert. You're gonna have to do something better than that, Andrew. I'm sorry, man.
Don't want to like mod is not really a mod in and of itself, but a data pack for you guys who like don't really like to do like add something extra to Minecraft. It's called the Blaze and Caves Advancement Pack, and it adds I think over 400 new achievements to Minecraft. Sort of like one of them is like swimming in a boat for over like 100 blocks. And also the hold on, I gotta pull it up. Oh wait, I don't have it pulled up. Like you can get like certain stuff, sort of like if you fall and land on half a heart, you get feather falling boots. Getting murdered by a dolphin gets you an achievement. It's just like hundreds of new achievements. I really like it. Back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, so the next thing to bring up is there's no segue. Is there's a certain community on YouTube that is steeped in controversy, and that is the commentary community. Now, the issue with the commentary community is it's been around forever, but it's very hard to sort of pin down what exactly it is. It could just be you talk about a random topic over some gaming, but it's a lot of things. I mean, the main commentators in history, Pyrocynical is probably like one of the main ones that people know of for like forever. One of the old heads of it, Colossal is Crazy. He was pretty big. But then extending it, one of the most big ones is Oompaville. Is probably one of the biggest modern commentators, and Leafy is probably by far the most famous. I mean, Turkey, Tom, there are all these different commentators, and for whatever reason, there will be these waves of them, and they'll bolster up in full force. It'll be the big thing on YouTube, and then it will sort of die down. Oh, by far, the king of commentators, of course, I forgot to mention Moist Critical / Penguin Zero. But what happens typically is, in my experience, they all swell up, big community of them, all talking about the same topics. They die, and then new ones come about. Like the most recent big success is Oompaville. So the question I want to open up to y'all is, what about this community specifically is so constantly being brought back from the dead?
Just the commentary community in general, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I think the big elephant in the room is probably that it's limitless content. You're never going to run out of things to talk about. There's always going to be something popular, always going to be something controversial. It's just like capitalizing off of trends, basically, is the entire business. And not to, bash them, but that's what it is. And or to start trends, as some have done. But it's just limitless content, and it's always going to be new. It's always going to be fresh. And if you make it fresh, and if you make it good, that is. But yeah, I think that's just the main point. And also the fact that it's very easy-going content. Like, you can just, what I do sometimes is just like put it on. It's almost like kind of like a podcast. I mean, that's basically what it is. Just like a one-person podcast. And it's very easy content. Maybe you can do something else while you're listening to it. And I think the third and final thing is that it also has great viewer retention and rates which helps spread the channel's popularity. Because you want to listen to all of it and hear the creator's takes or just the whole story. And unless it is like a breaking news thing in which you're just going to click off after the first minute when you hear the headline and the basic explanation, anybody who isn't going to do that, which I have done, so it's okay. But I love how that was my meter of if something's good or not. I'm screwing this up. But what I'm trying to say is, it's just, you're going to want to stay tuned to all. John, what do you think?
Yeah, sort of like one of the ones that I watch. I think his YouTube channel is Poncho. He'll get an influx of viewers, and then it will go down a little bit, and another influx. So, it just goes in waves.
Yeah.
Specifically because of that vegan teacher. He made fun of her. He's in the scrubby vein, and a lot of the way Leafy was, where basically would just bully a person that most of the internet can agree is an undesirable. There are actually some moral quandaries to be brought up with the
basically Sunny V2, but less enlightened.
Basically, the idea is the way a lot of these commentators like Poncho or Scrubby, the way they come about is someone like Dr. Phil, the people of Dr. Phil, that was a big one for a while. Scrubby would just make fun of people who came on Dr. Phil. Just these people who the internet agrees are a bad person or someone they dislike. And these people bully them, and you get that sort of lizard brain, caveman, cathartic reaction of seeing someone you disagree with or that you think is a danger to the social contract.
Yeah, that's definitely right.
Criticized. And this is, I think, one of the biggest
a lot of groupthink there.
Groupthink. This is what has caused so many of the country Japan's social problems too, which is this is sort of a sidebar, but the whole idea of why they'll never probably be one of the last countries to get rid of the death penalty is because so much of their population enjoys the idea of someone who did something wrong being killed, even being killed horribly. And I think that is, in certain places, it's a bigger issue, but there's a smaller reaction of that. You get that cathartic reaction of seeing someone shamed.
Yeah.
Because if everyone acted like that vegan teacher, we could not. That's the idea of a Hobbesian social construct, right? If everyone acted like that vegan teacher, we could not function in a good society. Everyone wants to have their own property, and everyone wants to be pretty secure. You don't have to constantly be like, oh yeah, by the way, you're murdering animals. You're murdering animals. People don't like that. And we know, in deep down in our lizard brains, that if everyone constantly made fun of us or was sort of, what's it called, antagonistic towards us, that would not go well. So because of that, when we see someone who breaks that social contract of not being antagonistic, the idea of the social contract to keep everyone informed is you don't kill me, thus I don't kill you, thus no one dies and we're happy. And in the same, you don't annoy me, I don't annoy you, no one gets annoyed, we're happy. That's this sort of like thinly veiled, rickety.
I wish it was that simple.
It's not, but yeah.
That reminds me that it was either the Romans or the Greeks had a penalty that if you were annoying enough, you could be sent to prison.
Oh, and modern countries do that.
I think it needs to be brought back, you know?
I've seen the modern countries do that to a minor scale. I did hear, I have no idea if this is fake or not. It probably is. But a while ago, I saw this meme that somebody, which obviously memes are the most credible source, but they decide for yourself whether or not that's sarcastic. But it was Switzerland denied citizenship to a woman because she was too annoying. This is like based Switzerland, man.
That's hilarious.
That's
great.
That's just great. Yeah, right. Like least based Swiss decision.
But the thing with all this is that brings up those interesting questions. The other thing, though, that I also find interesting is I think people don't like being put into boxes, and this is where we come up with another deal. Especially with the terminology of being based, it can go quickly from like, okay, because there will always be a sort of infatuation culturally with people who are willing to step outside of what is socially acceptable. Because the average person, we admire people doing things that we are too afraid to do. Like if I wouldn't fight a lion, so I think a lot of us, that like a lot of us would not want to fight a lion, so we'd probably admire a guy who would be. Yeah. Who would be willing to go fight some lion. And because of that, someone who's willing to step outside of what is socially acceptable or politically correct, we sort of will admire them. I think that's where you get people like Jay Schlatt's humor. He's very brash. That's why he's so popular. People enjoy that sort of like, unexpected, humor, because most people are too scared to joke like that. And I think in the modern society, because more and more people are silenced, and there are more and more large groups that will bully and ruin people's lives if that's someone they disagree with, I think that becomes dangerous when we are pushed more and more into a corner. I think people might spring back, not to where it is a good area, but spring back way farther to another extreme of bad, and then slowly crawl back to where it's good until we're once again wound back to the other area of bad. But I don't want to get into too early of a segment.
I don't want to cut you off, but like that's kind of basically the whole Sigma culture and toxic masculinity, and how far some people take that. You know, you want to see those elements in people sometimes, but there's always like the 10-year-olds who basically are like mini Andrew Tates running around and take the whole like being a Sigma male way too far, and that's super toxic.
Yeah, well, okay, the thing I've noticed too is like we talk about things being like based started like being a Sigma, or like there's all those Sigma edits started with just like actual Sigmas or someone maybe doing that sort of thing. But the other thing I've noticed now is there will straight up be videos of guys bullying women, and it just like Sigma male, based, but not just women, so more like attractive
toxic masculinity,
I would say it's probably the right word. It's just because you get these groups of people who are either lonely, or, chronically online, and they want to probably, have a nice cat girl girlfriend. No, I'm kidding. But like a lot of people will like blame women, especially attractive women, for their struggles, why they're alone, that sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of people, when they see a guy doing that, they're like, base, that's a joke. of course, but
Yeah.
I think plenty of them
A lot
might
of,
actually
especially
find that
kids, they
based.
take that to heart. Like
They do. That's what's scary.
kids do that. Like 10, and then like 10-year-olds will take like Andrew Tate's philosophy and stuff, and now you have this whole breed of people who think they're being like chads, but really they're just being harmful to society.
I've been
This is way too serious. We got to get out of here.
Imagine if a child was like, his mom was like, all right, do the dishes, and he's like, you do the dishes, or you're a low-value woman. How do you think that's going to go over for little Timmy?
I've been saying it for years.
But
we shouldn't let kids under 13 like actually get on the internet.
no,
I mean,
no way. I fully agree. I fully agree, John.
Have you seen Call of Duty voice chat? They're
oh my gosh,
every single word that they know that's harmful to someone, yet they don't see the consequences of it, which is really bad for society.
Okay, I have a couple more points, and this might get a little... Okay, I don't think... I was talking about this with some of my friends today. I don't think...
This is too serious.
We'll see. Yeah, I will try not to. Our brains were not meant for social media. Think about this, right?
That's
Let's say
true.
You are the most attractive person in your village. 10 women. Cool. 10. The entire village.
Why do you say that's right, Grant? What are you trying to say there?
I'm using you as an example. So, in Grant's village, 10 of the 14 village women, the other 4 are married, are all like, man, that guy's pretty cool. That would be an abnormal amount of, like, social gratification. Which
Basically,
Gaston.
Literally Gaston.
Then we move into cities, right? Maybe everyone finds you attractive or cool or whatever, but the most gratification you're going to get is people doing a little double take when you walk around. That's different, but it's still normal. The problem comes when a person can go on the internet, post pictures of themselves, and now instead of maybe 10 men or even 20 on the sidewalk, 5,000 of them.
Wow.
Give them validation. Or the idea of this. That was just an example that pertains to like Instagram models. The other one is parasocial relationships. I think one of the most harmful things for people in modern society. The biggest one is like, all right, you are watching a Twitch streamer, right? You see her kind of address you specifically, but she's not addressing you. She's addressing chat on a screen. But you're chat, right? You think you're chat. So you know so much. Okay, let's say you met your favorite Twitch streamer in the wild, right? The way that works is when you say they're not your friend, it's like this. Let's say, right, you know this chatter's name from like, because he's on all of your streams. And let's say you're walking around on the street, let's say you're a Twitch streamer, and he's like, hey, I can't believe I'm running into you. I didn't know you would be visiting Texas today. Let's say he lives in Texas. I'm striped zebra 42. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I know your things from there. That's so cool. Great to meet you, right? That's normal. That's that level of, relationship you have. But if you walk into your house and striped zebra 72 is just on your couch, you'd be like, oh my gosh, breaking and entering. And like, no, don't call the police. I'm striped zebra 42. You know me. Then there's where we get the problem. And I think the thing that society needs to be, with like Sigma male culture, that people need to be the most wary of now is, what I'm scared of is, okay, think Jordan Peterson, right? People disagreed with him, and I'm fine with that. You are totally allowed to disagree with something like that. But he got silenced. And he was this pretty harmless guy who had these sort of Sigma-based male views, right? But he wasn't going to hurt anyone. I mean, look at him, But he was this sort of kindly old man type deal. But the problem with him was then he got banned everywhere and silenced. Who comes along right after him? Andrew Tate. And what he basically was, because when they sort of martyred, in the only real sense of the word I can think of here, this one guy, a bigger, stronger, more threatening version will always come by. The scariest thing to me is now Andrew Tate, his consequences have been more severe. Now, okay, big difference here. He got banned everywhere, but also he's on human trafficking charges. I'm not going to say whether or not I believe he did it, because I think he is innocent until proven guilty. And I don't know if he mentioned there's no justice in Romania, which I agree with, but it's also why he said
that's why he was there.
So, yeah, live by Romania, die by Romania. And I don't think he'll receive justice no matter what, but I'm not going to make a judgment call on whether or not I think he did it. But just as far as him being banned, once he is gone out of the social eye, who's next? That's the question. And I think what people need to learn now is to sort of, people won't do this, but what we all need to do now is find some common ground. That way, because what Andrew Tate, what he has said, who I truly believe his messages were for, was people from like teenagers or just men in general. He did not mean his messages for children, but he put them on the internet. And the number one internet demographic is children. And I don't want to get too dark, so let's just, everyone, be nice to each other, please. And you know a great way to be nice to each other and meet each other? Sports.
Yes, that's right. If you are getting tired of all the seriousness that we have just put out, then how about sports as a little bit of escapism? That's right, folks. It's time, once again, for the sports segment. So, yeah, this is basically, if you're new here, this is basically me just covering the top news sports stories of the week. And sometimes I'll focus on big things like the Super Bowl or whatever. But this week we didn't really have one defining moment, but there were some big news. So I think we will just jump right in. So the first thing I think that I want to cover really quick is Jon Jones. He became the UFC heavyweight champion, proving he's still championship worthy. I don't really know much about UFC. You probably don't either. If you do, good for you. But you probably don't either, so I'm not going to say too much. But basically what I got from the article that I read is that he's been around a while, and people were starting to doubt him and question him and say maybe he's washed up, maybe he can't do this anymore. Well, he silenced them by becoming the heavyweight champion. So good for him. Always want to see that in sports. Reigning Formula One champion Max Verstappen led Red Bull Racing's 1-2 sweep of the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix. He led, I think, every lap of the race and was in just top form, as always. He's probably going to win another championship, let's be honest. If you follow Formula One, you know how absolutely unstoppable he is right now. Another takeaway from the race was veteran Fernando Alonso's surprising drive to the first podium with his new team. He was really great back in the day, so kind of like Jon Jones. It's good to see like one for the old guys. And also Scuderia Ferrari's Charles Leclerc leaving the race early because his car's power failed. Yes, his car is made and prepared by Ferrari, so in case you're thinking about getting a Ferrari, you might want to question it. Yeah, it's way different. Trust me, it's way more complicated than that. That was a joke. Next up, Liverpool Football Club. They absolutely trounced Manchester United 7-0, which is United's worst ever Premier League defeat and tied for their worst in club history. They have not been lost. I kid you not, they have not lost that bad since 1931. Literally 98 years ago was that. That's how bad this is. They have not lost that bad in 90. No, that's not right. But oh my gosh, don't screw that up. But they were lost that bad in a while. On the other side, Liverpool's Mohamed Salah, if I'm saying that right, became the team's all-time Premier League scorer with 129 goals. So good for him. And finally, the NBA's Milwaukee Bucks 16-game winning streak is officially over. As an NBA fan, I thought that was really neat to watch. They lost to the Philadelphia 76ers by just 3 points. So close. Sucks for them, but they did have a great run, and they're still first in the Eastern Conference above the Boston Celtics and the 76ers. One final thing that I want to put in here is on the day of this recording, March 6th, in 1902, my favorite soccer team, Real Madrid, was founded in Spain. So I thought that was really cool. I heard that from those today in history calendars and stuff. Well, today was Real Madrid got founded, and they're my favorite soccer team. So I thought that was pretty cool. But those are your top stories that I could find from the sports world, literally all around the world this week. So yeah, back to the show.
All right. Thank you, Grant. Did you talk about circles?
Oh yeah, I had to include Formula One there. I would have included NASCAR,
Formula
but
One.
It was just boring. William Byron won, Hendrick domination. If you're a NASCAR fan, you get it. If not, don't worry about it. It was boring. Well, It was boring to the average fan. Oh, let me cover my tracks a little bit. Boring to the average fan.
So I wanted to mention a indie game that I played. I played through the whole game on my channel if you want to go check that out. But it is a game called Marie's Room. It is an incredible game. It is PG or even anywhere close. Just to like younger viewers, or if you're not younger, and be aware, it covers some dark-ish themes, and there is some pretty serious swearing. But it is a very good game. I did play it on my channel, so just viewer warning for there. I probably put it in the description of this, or I will. John will probably put it in the description of this video. But yeah, I gotta recommend it. The story is you go back in time, or it like transports you to like a view of what it was like back in time as you go through your friend's room and sort of remember what happened there. It's a story game, point and click adventure game, and it is incredibly fun and pretty touching. So I have to recommend it.
Yeah, I did read an article about it. It seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I would play it if you're fine with the themes in it, and I don't really have much to say about it. I just would have to recommend anyone go play it. It's a very story-driven game. Okay, so there has been a new thing in gaming news. Well, gaming news is not a gaming podcast. Not a gaming podcast.
No, it's not a gaming podcast.
It's not a gaming podcast. But there has been some interesting gaming news, which is that Scarlet and Violet will be getting a DLC, and you can buy it right now. John, you like these games. That's pretty much in your wheelhouse, so I'm going to let you go.
I'm so sorry. I'm about to rant.
Go for it, dude.
Really love the whole thing.
You've been kind of quiet tonight.
I know.
Go for it, bro. Just
that,
do it. Play your guts.
I know that Andrew doesn't. I know that Andrew doesn't fully like the new Scarlet/Violet, but personally, I love it.
Quickly. I just want to say before we get into this, where I am, my experience with the game, I just beat all the gym leaders, and I have also beat all of the Titans. I'm working on Starfall Road now. I'm playing Scarlet. John has played Violet. And I gotta say, this is one of the Pokemon games where I have just mashed through every line of dialogue. I do not care. But
no offense, I did that with
the dialogue.
Sword and Shield, so...
No, Mabostiff.
So nothing has
Mabostiff saved the game. Mabostiff. That's all I have to say there. John, continue.
Anyway, the new disc Pokemon, the legendary disc Pokemon for the Part 2 was actually called before, like, Pokemon basically introduced it before the DLC was introduced at all. It was, I'm about to, Andrew, is it fine if I spoil a part of it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Inside the great, so once you get inside the great crater of Paldea, there are, like, exploration things all over it. And multiple times it mentions that the great crater holds a mysterious Pokemon inside of it. It is debated whether the Great Crater is the Pokemon or the Pokemon has influenced the Great Crater. And that is the Disc Pokemon, the legendary Disc Pokemon for Part 2. Also, the DLC for the first part is just Majora's Mask. Like, the creature looks like it's from Majora's Mask. But I am very excited to see where that goes. I also really wish that they kept the starters, except for, I wish they did something different for the Quaxley evolution. But Skeleturge, perfect. Meowscarada needs a couple changes. But that's just about all I have for Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I've looked at the DLCs. The art looks amazing, but the actual game looks like actual crap, so I can't expect any difference from this.
Make sure to do the legendary raids, I think they end this or next week. So make sure to do
It's next week, yes. I'm almost done with the game. I've been grinding so hard to be able to do those. But yeah, I'm glad because I really want to walk and wake. The past and future forms are very good. I'm glad I picked Scarlet because the past forms are way cooler than the future forms. Next thing I want to talk about
cool. Go ahead.
Is yes, the serious minute. So if you don't know how this works, I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock, and I'm going to talk about something serious for that minute. If you want to stick around, please do. If you do not want to hear that, so if you don't want to hear that, that's fine. But just go ahead and skip 1 minute after we say go. So I'm going to count us in, and I will begin. You guys ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, start. So I want to bring attention to something that happened quite a while ago, but it is the earthquakes that have devastated Turkey. No matter what you feel about the Turkish government or how over-controlling or evil they might be, we can all agree that this is a tragedy for the Turkish people and everyone involved. I just checked so far. I believe there are around 35,000 casualties confirmed, and as they go through the rubble, there will be more and more. Absolutely devastating event when this sort of thing happens. If anyone, of course, send your thoughts and prayers to the good people of Turkey, and if you want to help them with any kind of financial aid, I would, of course, definitely recommend doing something charitable like that. Just make sure you're always going through reputable charities that aren't going to pocket the money, because unfortunately, when there's money involved, there's also corruption. But this is an actual tragedy, and I just wanted to bring this up, just because of how devastating it is. So yeah.
Was that under a minute?
Serious minute?
Was that under a minute?
That was a whole minute.
It was.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. You're making big steps.
Thank you.
Bravo. Don't do an encore.
Yeah, please. We've had it.
Enough seriousness. This episode got serious. But the next thing I want to talk about is we talked about some derelict memes in the last episode. I want to bring another one up. Just go look up Gordon Ramsay grilled cheese on YouTube. It'll come up. Basically, Gordon Ramsay cooked grilled cheese, and he's Gordon Ramsay, so he couldn't. Okay, to make a grilled cheese, you want to use American cheese. Here's why. It is not cheese. It's cheese product, because there's not enough cheese in it. It's mostly milk. Too much milk solids, not enough cheese. Because the CDC, in order to regulate for those good old dairy farmers, the good people of Wisconsin, what is cheese and what isn't, because they gotta keep quality standards before you can call something cheese. They have to call it cheese product because there's too much milk solids, not enough cheese.
Didn't do that with rice cauliflower though. You can fight me on that. That's a topic for another day.
What'd you say? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said that didn't stop them with rice, cauliflower, and almond milk, but
Oh, you're right.
Didn't know we could milk and almond, but just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Well, they did change that. Almond milk is one word now instead of almond milk because you can't milk an almond.
Okay. But anyway.
Although
brilliant observation. It took him that long to figure it out.
He decides he's going to use the good cheese. All these very delicious looking types of cheese, but they are hard cheeses. You eat them with crackers. They're meant to be enjoyed at room temperature with some little carbohydrates, like some crackers, some grapes, a little charcuterie, even. But what he did is try to put them on thick slices of bread next to a hearth. Oh, and with kimchi. Because he had to make it a little bougie, so he added kimchi. Who would put that on a grilled cheese? I don't want to rant about this too much, but why? It's just literally why. It makes sense.
You're a little bit behind in this rant. Let's be honest.
I like kimchi, but I don't put it on a grilled cheese. It's better where it's good, which is not on a grilled cheese. Anyway, he's like, there's a part where he cuts the sandwich. He goes, "Look at that beautiful melted cheese. Cheese is solid." Solid, cold cheese. Did not melt at all. And it became a meme. I find it hilarious that one of the greatest chefs in the world can't cook a freaking grilled cheese. So,
he overcomplicated it.
He did, and that was his detriment. I'm excited about this next part. What we are introducing a new segment, and I'm going to explain how it works, and we're going to get into it. This is our spooky segment. So every episode, there's going to be a spooky segment. Instead of it being just like one of our segments, it's going to be all of our segment, and it's going to go in order. So it's my episode to host today. So today, I'm going to be doing the spooky segment, and what I'm going to be doing for it is a cryptid. Next week, it'll be Grant. He will be doing a scary story. The week after that, it'll be John, who will be doing an SCP. On and on.
Explain to the viewers what that is, please.
Oh, yes, SCP Foundation. John?
It stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. It's basically a category of anomalies.
Huh.
It's like it's like there's this Wikipedia page, and there is like this whole, look it up. Actually, if you're too young, a lot of them are really dark, and some of them are nice and existential. We won't get into too many of those, but they're very interesting overall. And there's a lot of content of it on YouTube. So, yeah, our first one today, I want to open it up with one of my favorite cryptids, the Loveland frogman. So, to go over it, basically, cryptid, I probably should say what that is. That's basically like Bigfoot, that sort of deal.
I think
I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's like that sort of thing.
We talked about them a little bit last time, but
I believe we did.
They're basically just like kind of folk legends, is what my understanding.
I was not stalling at all, by the way, while saying that to try to remember where this guy was from. Anyway, you got to keep this crap in Ohio, because only in Ohio could you find a frog person, specifically a frogman, maybe multiple frogmen. And this story takes place in Ohio, in Loveland, Ohio. And there have been a few stories about this guy. One of the main ones I know is this squad car. These cops are rolling around, and they see something darting across the road, so they follow it. And as it's jumping over a guardrail into the woods, they see what appears to be a frog-like creature, no tail, scaly skin, about like a few feet tall, humanoid,
Kurt Connors,
around.
if you're a Marvel fan. I said Kurt Connors, if you're a Marvel fan.
Yeah. But they're like, oh my gosh, that's a frog person. Another one, a guy's driving around, and he sees the same thing, but he sees it with what seems to be a wand in its hand that's shooting off sparkles, like a sparkler, basically. Now, what they think it might have been was an iguana might have escaped from a local zoo or pet store and have lost its tail, and that's what he mistook for a frogman.
I've never wanted to say only in Ohio more.
Dude,
the temptation is I'm gonna mute myself.
Anyway, this is in Ohio, so what can you expect? But yeah, I think that's probably it for this spooky segment. A bit of a short one this time, but we just have a lot of topics, and I can't keep the episode going too long forever. So, yeah, the next thing...
I didn't actually say it. I did not say it on mute. I did not.
Oh, good for you. Good job, Grant. That meme really needs to die, but...
It really does. We talked about this last time, so check it out after you're done with this episode.
Yes. We're going to do something a little cringe. And I'm just kidding. We're going to do a top 3 thing. And... yeah, we're going to go over our top 3 anime openings, because we can't escape anime on this podcast. So, Grant, your turn first.
So I really like just music in general. So obviously, when there's something as cool as, consistent openings, like nobody really cares about theme songs in other TV shows except like anime, but for some reason openings are just really cool in this particular genre of entertainment. So naturally, I was going to pounce on this. So yeah, I was thinking we could do like our top 3, and then just kind of talk about like what you think makes a good like opening. I'll start. So my honorable mentions are Bloody Stream from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I think it really encompasses whatever the word is. Just the vibe like of the openings of that period. Like you listen to a lot of openings from like when that came out, and a lot of them kind of sound like that, honestly. And plus, it sounds really awesome. And then, actually, my other honorable mention is going to be Sasageo, because you just can't help but scream it out whenever you listen to the song. I think pretty much anybody can back that up. So my third favorite is probably Kickback from Chainsaw Man, just because it's just groovy. And there's not really a lot to say there. It's just kind of groovy. And so my second one, I promise I'm going to do a better job of explaining these. Second favorite is My War. I think it's really bone chilling in a really cool way. Just like, kind of like, yeah, that scene, the best part of the whole song is that scene where like the soldiers are marching, and like if you haven't seen Attack on Titan, you can just go and literally just look up like My War Attack on Titan and just like watch the opening. It's a minute long, after the show, of course. But I think that like it's just like bone chilling. And the thing about a great opening is that it's not just a great song. It's also got to have something like great visuals and just kind of, have the overall vibe of the show in mind. You wouldn't put something like happy and uplifting in, something like Attack on Titan, which is a show that's pretty depressing and pretty serious. I think you guys can, John especially, he's seen it, he knows. But it's a pretty serious show, so like I think something like My War definitely fits. And if you don't know any of these, just go and give them a listen real quick. They're probably like 1 to 2 minutes long. And then lastly, my favorite one is season 1, Attack on Titan, the opening there, the first one. I have no idea how to pronounce it. It's Japanese. Guren no Yumiya is the best I could do. Oh, I'm so sorry if I butchered that. I really like the song. Again, it's just really good pump up, very, very hype, much wow. And yeah, I just think it like that scene where they're like spinning through the air, like as they go through the main part of the song, and like I think that's just animated beautifully. So yeah, that's kind of like now it's somebody else's turn to geek out.
Turn.
Andrew, you going?
Oh yeah, I was gonna go. You can have it though if you want it, but I was gonna go.
Okay, just go ahead. I'll just wait.
I want to give an honorable mention to an ending theme, which is the ending theme to Erased, which is one of my favorites. And also the ending theme Uso by Sid, just some honorable mentions because these are ending themes. So I guess let's kick it off with number 3, and that is going to have to be Again by Yue, which is the first opening to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
The only FMA opening worth mentioning, in my opinion. They weren't really that good. I didn't really like them. The
first one is incredible, and it fits with the way the anime, like the opening looked so well. And I almost feel bad for doing another one, but I just like the song, which is, I had to look it up because the actual title is in Japanese, but it's called Hologram by Nico Touches the Walls, which is the second Full Metal Alchemist opening. I liked it. Or Brotherhood opening. I liked it. I don't know why I liked it so much, but I've listened to it quite a ton, so I had to really put that up there. And then my number 1, which is the one I'm going to have to rant about, is Wind by Akeboshi, which is, I think it's the first... No, it's an ending theme. Crap, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. The greatest anime song of all time, by far. Go listen to it if you haven't. And it's the ending theme for the first season of Naruto. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's probably in my top 3 songs ever written.
May I go ahead?
Beautiful.
Yeah, sure.
So I have to give 2 honorable mentions. One of them, because it's not really an opening, since it's not in the episode. And one of them isn't from Japan. The first one is Under the Tree, which is like a trailer song for the Attack on Titan hour-long special.
Didn't that just come out?
Yeah, like
or am I just
a
dumb?
couple days ago it came out along with
Yeah.
the song.
Oh, that was on trending.
And
That's kind of cool.
the part 3 first half ending, which is, you guys are gonna find this funny, "Walk Like an Egyptian," which,
like the old song.
yeah, the Bengals, I believe. So those are my 2 honorable mentions. I really hope I got the band's name right. And number 3 on my list has to be "Kickback," which is
that's a good one.
Chainsaw opening. Then it's kind of a tie. So I'll probably have this as the 3rd honorable mention, but it's "Dying Wish," which comes from Moriarty the Patriot, which is a really good show if you like mysteries. And then for second place is "The Rumbling,"
Ooh.
which is really
good.
Attack
on Titan just does not miss. Like, not every one of their songs is good, but something. Attack on Titan and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure are the same. They just they're so good, man. They just do fantastic jobs with it. There are hardly any AOT skips.
Yeah, and then...
Well, also, fun fact quickly about The Rumbling. For all of the viewers, this is to you. The Rumbling is the song that plays when your mother walks down the stairs. Did it?
I'm going to move on from that one. And one of my favorite openings of all time is "End of the World," which I'm going to rant a little bit about because of just how good it is.
That sounds pretty good. Anything called "End of the World's got to be pretty epic.
The part 3 opening from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And it's a collaboration from 3 artists to make this song. So in part 1 of JoJo, they use, I think it's Tommy. They have Tommy do the part 1 opening, which is "Legacy of Your Bloodline," Sodocido Sadame. Then is the part 2 opening, "Bloody Stream," which was, of course, was it your honorable mention, Grant?
Yes, that was my first honorable mention.
And then,
if you'd asked me like 8 months ago, I probably would have called it number 3. But then I kind of got a little bit more into AOT, and they just have so many good ones.
Yeah. It wasn't Yen, it was Koda, who's a fantastic singer. And then Yen, who did another great one from part 3, which was "Stand Proud." And they collaborated all together to make "End of the World," which is the end of the Dio arc for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which spans part 1, part 2, and part 3. Making it the end of Dio Stand the World, which is a great...
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
JoJo openings are on another level.
Every single, every anime memer is just like, how did they not say Giorno's theme? It's overrated.
Oh, what's that an opening?
It's not an opening.
It's
true. A theme.
That's true. But we're just kind of unit endings, so, they're kind of just...
But Trader's Requiem was really good.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm telling you, man, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Attack on Titan, they just hardly ever miss.
Wait, Grant,
hardly ever.
I will say, credit
Bizarre
is due to Chainsaw Man.
I have not, but I literally listened to the soundtrack. It's so good. Heck, I was working out to My War the other day, and it was hype. Not gonna lie, I will admit that. It was hype. Andrew, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say too with Chainsaw Man. When I heard "Kickback," I was almost convinced I'd heard it before. It sounded iconic just from when I listened to it. I was like, isn't this from an anime that's existed forever, maybe My Hero or something? But no, it was a new song, I'm pretty sure. And I feel like just credit to where it's due with that is it sounds like an iconic anime opening, but even though it's too early for it to be iconic. And I think that show is making waves in the community. I don't see it being the next big anime.
It's
just,
definitely made waves. I would agree with that.
Well, when I say big anime,
it's going to be remembered. It's going to be
it's not going to
remembered.
be a forever in anime. I don't think anyway. Just because it's too gory. The forever animes have to appeal to children in some way, even though they're usually pretty bloody. Things like
or just have it a non. And I haven't seen Chainsaw Man, so I can't speak to whether or not it has this. But really the story structure, kind of lends itself like something like Full Metal Alchemist. That was never meant to be like just going on for 12 seasons because it had a definite end to it, or something like if you've seen Assassination Classroom, it's the same way. Like think about that. What's so brilliant about that show is you already know what's going to happen. It's a destination, it's about the journey, not the destination show, because you already know. Like in episode 1, like you find out like what's going to happen, and like it's so brilliant. But that was never meant to be a forever one because it had a definite end.
Same with
I think the thing with it's definitely. I think with the forever animes, the ones that stick out to me, Naruto was one for a long time, and I think My Hero Academia is a running forever anime.
It will be.
What's by far blows them out of the water to me is the One Piece, and the reason for that is it was pretty much made to be a forever anime. Same kind of like Dragon Ball. In One Piece, the deal with it is they're constantly having arcs where they go to new islands and new countries and stuff. They just go places in this big water world. So it's pretty much made to go on in perpetuity.
I'm never going to touch One Piece.
Never in my life.
No way.
It's on my anime list, along with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
It just
I'm never watching Dragon Ball.
I am like just intimidated so much by One Piece just because it's like
it's
literally and just but again the storyline as what you said, like it just you can always tell which ones are going to be forever or not. Like Spy Family, that's not going to be. It's not going to be. It's probably going to be
Demon
2 or 3
Slayer.
seasons.
I thought Demon Slayer was going to go for a while, but it isn't because the manga's
already ended.
Yeah.
Same with
another one, Erased. That was a one-time thing. Promised Neverland, which I think you finished the first episode recently, Grant.
I did. It was so good.
But that can't go on forever.
You, Andrew, and John, I'll keep you guys updated on my progress. But I did finish it.
Can I rant about something real quick?
Well, we've gone on for a little while, but sure. What's up?
That's fine.
Attack on Titan is perfection of a story. If you've ever heard of like the perfection of a story, so this is like an actual technique. It's making sure that every single thread in the story is used, which is how Attack on Titan is a perfection of a story. Because every single thing in Attack on
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's used at the end. Sort of like, can I spoil some of it?
Please don't.
No, not for the
I still haven't seen the end. I'm still not caught up. But say what you want.
Throughout the entire series, there were references to the end of the series. So there are like things
that's true.
Don't capture
that's not a
time
spoiler.
watching.
That's true.
But the second time watching, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Sort of like in the first season when Aaron hits his head on the trying to use his ODM gear, his head is spinning because,
What did you say? Your mic cut out there.
I said
his head what?
I'm not going to spoil it for Andrew.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I've only seen the first 2 seasons, but I always keep up to date on the soundtrack.
It looks sick. I'm probably going to listen to it or watch it. I'm going to watch it.
Would recommend.
Speaking of watch/listen, y'all have been listening to this for like an hour and 10 minutes or more. And
hour 13.
Thank you all if you've gotten through this. You're a trooper, and I don't know how or why you did it, but and if you continue to watch these, we thank you. And I have one piece of wisdom for you. Do you know the definition of insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting stuff to change.
Different result. Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
Voss said that in Far Cry 3. He was played by the guy who plays Ignacio Varga in
I don't think that's
Saul.
I don't think that's the original quote, but okay.
Well, I took away all the cuss words.
No, I'm saying I don't think he was the first person to say that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It
but...
is the literal definition of insanity.
Oh. And man told me that and I shot him. But we gotta keep this moving, sorry. Thank you all so much for watching. You can find us, we'll probably have links in the descriptions by the time you're watching this. But you can check out John at red.66 on Twitch. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch, both at SuperSpartoi. People with Thunder 2, or Grant, can't find him anywhere, sorry.
Yeah.
He's a ghost. He doesn't exist. He's a figment of your imagination.
Yeah.
Me and John have just been talking to each other this whole
You're
time.
right. No. I'm secretly a chatbot, guys.
Chatbot, yeah.
I'm a chatbot with a lot of annoying sports takes.
Yeah, he gains sentience. But please
Yes.
check us out there if you want to. That's always
I hope
great.
that becomes a running joke.
That would be great.
Please let that be a running joke.
But thank you all very much for watching. Oh yes, if this is on YouTube, subscribe, leave a like, and comment to tell us what you thought of the whole deal. Please rate us on Spotify, preferably like 5 stars. It's always good. If there's a poll, always helps if you answer that. And leave us any comments on Spotify or responses or whatever. That's always great. And yeah, I really hope you did enjoy. Drop us a follow or subscription. Already said that. And anything else y'all want to say?
Final thoughts. I'm trying to think of good final thoughts, but yeah, it's pretty good. Had a lot of fun. I think I said that last week and the week before that.
I'm shocked we made it to episode 4. I really hope you guys like this.
You didn't lose interest on a project right away? What?
I know. I never do this. This is great. This
is like my longest running hobby.
Yeah, we record on Mondays, and I get excited for Mondays now.
Oh,
so,
yeah, for real.
Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and please tune in next week. But until then, see you guys next time. Bye.